As any parent will tell you, any parent knows, kids eating are messy, especially when they're little, but really extending far beyond the time that it seems like they should be messy. When kids eat, they make a mess. And often, as a result of that, parents try to tightly control the feeding environment to reduce that mess. Mainly, frankly, in my own experience, it's because I don't want to spend the time cleaning it up. The problem with that is that it is really critical to their development that kids explore food with all of their senses. Hi, I'm Kiyah Duffey, nutrition expert, entrepreneur, speaker, and mom of 3. I help busy, health-conscious parents transform their family's relationship with food. Rather than preventing your kids from making a mess, it's actually important to help think about how you can let them do that in a way that feels okay to you. We have known for a long time that humans see the world, experience the world using all 5 senses, and that they actually integrate the information they're getting from all 5 of their senses, especially when those senses are not yet fully developed, as is the case with young children. There's actually a recent study that I read that was fascinating, and it found that infants were better able to perceive new and unfamiliar faces when they were in the presence of their mom's odor, not even just their mom, but their mother's odor, her scent. And it suggests that that provided a level of safety to those infants, and they were willing to go out and explore the world a little bit. And it got me thinking about the importance of kids exploring food with all of their senses. Adults too, we eat. Our first interaction with food is the way it's presented to us on the plate. That matters. Our eyes perceive what is put down, and it has an influence on how we perceive the experience and actually the taste of the food. We also integrate our olfactory into the process of experiencing food. Obviously, something you walk into a kitchen where onions have been sauteed in butter. If you haven't done this before, try this experiment. Simply start sauteing onions in butter and see what your family has to say about that smell. So odor is also extremely important to how we taste a food. Of course, we taste foods. It is the primary way we think about exploring, engaging, understanding food. For kids, touch is actually an extremely important sense that they use to explore food. Well, I've talked many times about how exposure is important. Sometimes exposure can simply be letting your kids touch a food or multiple foods. That could be touching a food that's growing in the garden. It could be helping you prepare food in the kitchen and they're, getting their hands messy and they're touching it. It could be handling food at a grocery store when you're buying. All of these experiences are exposures that are important. And when kids are in the process of eating, especially, their senses integrate with the rest of their smell and their sight and their taste to give them a more full experience of food. I started all of this by saying that it is frustrating as a parent to have that kind of mess. And I don't mean that, we should be letting our kids throw food or throw their plates on the floor. I actually could talk about ways to handle that. But using our hands to feed ourselves when kids are little, this is critical and normal for them. And it's messy. So what can you do? First, I would encourage you to figure out how much mess you can tolerate and under what conditions, and then let there be some mess. Maybe it's certain times of day. Maybe there is a particular meal where you have more time and a little bit of mess on your kid or in your kitchen is okay. But find a time and determine for yourself what those parameters are that you're willing to endure the mess. Number 2, if it's a problem with a mess on the baby, on your kid, there are a few things that you could do. 1, put them in old clothes that you don't care if they get messy and stains don't come out. 2, let them eat in a diaper. Nothing wrong with that. Wipe them down when they're finished. Or you could use bibs that have a little bit more coverage. I know that these bibs, this is a Bapron baby bib, really covered the front of the child and help protect clothing. Personally, I really like, and it's why we launched with Kizingo long sleeve bibs like this. Similar to the Bapron, although it does have a pocket, but it is worn like this and it snaps at the back. And these help to protect clothing and sleeves. I mean, obviously arms can get messy and that's fine, but they help to protect sleeves. So a third strategy for dealing with the mess is, when you get that instinct to need to clean up, recognize it, pause for a second, and count to 10. Let it be there just a little bit longer, and then evaluate again. Okay, I just counted to 10. Am I ready to clean up the mess? Yes or no? If you feel like you can go another 10, great. If not, then it's time. And communicate with your child, even when they're little and they are pre-verbal. Say, it is now time to clean up, and I am going to be cleaning up. We are finished eating. And you can actually engage them in that process. Of course, when they're very little, they're not necessarily going to be helpful, but to demonstrate to your kids that this is what we do after a meal. We help each other, we work together, and we clean up from breakfast, lunch, dinner. So again, the importance of all of this is giving your kids the opportunity to explore foods with all of their senses. Even as adults, we eat with more than just our taste buds, right? Taste is a part of it, but we eat with more than that. And especially for kids when those senses are still developing, their taste buds are changing, the connections between all of their sensing and the connections in the brain, these are all forming so rapidly and intensely that it is critical that we give our kids an opportunity to have exploration with food and exposure to food that includes sight and smell and taste and touch.